Welcome to the Health by Haven podcast. I'm your host, Haven Quinlan. If you're a multi-passionate wellness enthusiast, then you're in the right place. I'm obsessed with learning as much as I can about the wellness world, and I want to share that with you. Each episode will dive into various aspects of health and wellness through inspiring and informative guest interviews with some solo episodes thrown in. Tune in for all things health, and let's have some fun, shall we? Today on the Health by Haven podcast, we have Dana Ariele Chwatt, who is a holistic health coach and fertility educator in training who specializes in hormone health and gut health. Since becoming certified through the Institute for Integrative Nutrition in 2020, Dana has worked with numerous clients, both in person and virtually, through one-on-one and group coaching programs. Dana also runs panels, webinars, workshops, and presentations for communities and corporations. Her true passion lies in connecting with women and empowering them to take charge of their health. With a heart for holistic well-being, she strives to inspire and support others on their path to their most balanced and vibrant lives. So thanks so much for joining us today on the podcast, Dana. For those of you for listeners who may not know you, could you just tell us a little bit about how you got interested in the world of health and wellness?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on the podcast. I'm so excited to be here. I grew up in a house that was very health focused. These days we sit around the table at Thanksgiving and everyone's talking about like what supplements they're taking, the new treatments that they're getting, how their guts are feeling. And I'll like turn to my married in cousin and I'm like, and people ask me why I became a health coach. Like it just is such a natural part of who I am. And when I was in college, like my friends would always come to me when they were not feeling great and they were like, what should I start taking? I think I'm getting sick, or what should I eat for breakfast? So I was giving out health advice before I was certified to do it. But yeah, I think that when I found the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, IIN, I felt like it was exactly what I was supposed to be doing. And yeah, I just kind of ran with it from there.
Okay, so I want to dig deeper a little bit into IIN for people who aren't familiar, but also did you study any sort of health related field in college that kind of led you there?
No, I took one public health class, but if you've ever taken a public health class, you know it's not really studying health. You're studying like mass, like on the mass scale. And I actually went to college originally to become a teacher. So I'm still an educator today. And I guess that was the thing that stayed. But I thought I was going to be a kindergarten teacher. And when they put me in the classroom, I was like, this isn't going to be my career. And so I switched to communications and PR, marketing, and I love to write. And that really gave me such a great foundation to be able to promote my business today and do email marketing, pitch myself, etc. But no, actually, I didn't take a single like quote unquote health class besides, that public health class in college. However, once I graduated college, that's when I started to kind of dive into this area a lot deeper.
Yeah, I love that. We've actually had some other guests on the show who attended IIN as well. And kind of the same thing, they have things from college that lend themselves well to maybe running their own coaching practice or something. But I love hearing about people's stories who get into the world of health and wellness kind of in a different way than maybe the traditional four-year degree. So going off that, maybe for people who haven't listened to episodes where we've talked about IIN, could you maybe give like an overview of what it is and like how you found out about it?
Yeah, it's so funny because I have no idea how I found out about it. Other than during COVID, I got laid off from my job, and my girlfriend Chloe and I decided to buy like masterclass. Do you remember, master classes? So we
Yeah.
started to give ourselves homework every night where we would like we would be watching a certain master class. We would give ourselves like literally assignments. And once we went through a few master classes, we started to give ourselves like extra credit homework. She didn't have a job at the time either. And I think one of our assignments was to like find a job or a vocation or career or some sort of thing that's a little outside of the box, but that like really is so resonant. And I think that's when I found and stumbled across IIN. And I remember like reading the checklist on their main page or something, and it was like, if you are this and this, and I was like, yes, I'm every single one of these things. Like this is meant for me. So IIN is really a nutrition school, and I've done 3 programs through IIN now. I've done their health coach training program, their gut health program, and their hormone health program. And so the first one I did was the health coach training one, and you can do that program in a whole year. You can do it accelerated in 6 months. I didn't have a job. I was like, I'm going to do this in 6 months. I ended up getting hired back for my job when I was in my first week of IIN.
Oh no.
So I was working full time again and doing school at the same time, and it was a lot. But I loved IIN because it really gives you an entire holistic perspective on health. Like it doesn't tell you what to think. It doesn't tell you like this is the right way. It'll tell you like this is the right way. And then they'll give you like 17 other viewpoints that also say like this is the right way. And so you're really able to take what works for you within that program and find your niche area of passion, um, or even just little topics that you want to dive further into. So I really loved that about IIN, just that major perspective. And I guess the biggest thing and the first thing I learned in IIN was, did you go to IIN, by the way?
No, but I feel like it's calling my name because I keep talking to
Okay.
people about it. And so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Well, they just redid the program, so I hear it's awesome, and they have new guest speakers, and it's just, I'm sure it's great. Like, it was great when I did it, but to have the updated version. Oh, the first thing that I learned in IIN was this concept of primary foods and secondary foods. And the concept really is that all of your primary foods are all of the things that nourish you off of your plate. So, like your relationships, your home environment, your career, your spirituality, your physical activity, your home cooking, your social life, your relationships, etc. And then your secondary foods are the things that actually nourish you on the plate. And there is no one size fits all diet. What works for me might not work for you, and that's okay. But the reason why those things are primary is because you could eat all of the kale and broccoli in the world, but if you don't have relationships or routines or a career that fulfills you, like you're never going to be happy or healthy. So when I went to nutrition school, I was like, okay, well, obviously I'm going to learn exactly how to eat and like what are the perfect things to put in my body. And I was sorely wrong. I obviously was studying different dietary theories, but again, I wasn't ever learning like this is the way to eat. And so I really enjoyed that holistic perspective, the way it challenged me. And I guess that was really just a great baseline to take me through the rest of the program.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that approach because you're totally right. Like if you have stressors in your life that are basically giving you stomach ulcers, it's not going to matter what you're eating. So that's really great perspective. So
Absolutely.
I know that you mentioned you've done 3 different certificates through them, and I definitely want to dig in a little bit more to those topics today as well. So once you went through the coaching program, I guess talk us through like what your mindset was. Like, did you start a coaching practice then? Did you immediately say, oh, I really loved like XYZ topic. I want to take more classes on that. What did that look like for you?
Yeah, absolutely. When I finished IIN, I again was still working full time, but I started to take on a few clients, and I ended up with a really full roster of one-on-one clients. And now looking back at like what my schedule looked like and what I was charging for my sessions, like I don't know how I did it. But I started to do that, and I learned that I loved coaching. Like I loved to be in conversation with women, supporting them, being of service to them, and making them feel confident in their health. And the in IIN, one of the things that they really encourage you to do is find your niche, like your area of focus, like what are you struggling with? What have you overcome? What is your passion area that you want to study further, that you want to specialize in and, help people within that area? And at the time, I was in the middle of the training. So it's only 6 months long. I don't remember exactly where I was, but I remember chatting with one of the other women that's in the program. It's a really individual program, but if you want to tap into the community, you totally can. And I'm a community girly, so I really tapped into that piece. And I remember I was chatting with like my accountability buddy, and I was like, Molly, like I don't have, like, it sounds like kind of ridiculous, but like I don't have something that I'm struggling with. Like, not that I'm like this perfect person over here, but like I'm not really struggling with any health issues. And as I was continuing to go through the program, I'm learning how to listen to my body a little bit deeper. And then I'm like, oh my God, I think I have gut issues. Like I never noticed them before, or I noticed them, but then they became my normal.
Mm-hmm.
And so that really had me go on the journey of studying gut health. So after I finished that program, I took some time off of school and then I went back to school to study the gut health piece. And I really went on my own gut healing journey at that point too. So in the program and on my own with some doctors, I'm really trying to figure out how to heal my own gut. I was waking up every single day extremely, extremely bloated. I would need to like run to the bathroom just to make it there. I would be like really uncomfortable after I ate. I was dealing with acne. I was struggling with like low energy, trouble sleeping. And again, like these things can seem really minor, especially when you've been dealing with them for a while. And your friends are dealing with them too. They become normal, but just because they're really common, they're not actually normal. And so through the gut program and through working with some doctors, I was able to get to this point where I felt really good in my gut, but I didn't ever feel 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was actually helping a lot of women with their gut health during this time as well. But again, I still never hit this point of like perfection where I was feeling awesome. And I actually had my grandmother passed away. I guess it was about 2 years ago now. And I was really unable to like show up for my clients. I was unable to go on social media and like promote my business. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to go back to school now and study something else. And honestly, hormone health wasn't something that I had this like crazy passion for until I started to study it. And so that's when I started to study hormone health. I was like supporting my clients, but I wasn't really in a place where I was trying to get any new ones.
Mm-hmm.
So I was back in school studying hormone health, and I was like, oh my God, like this is the thing I was missing. Like I was getting to this place of feeling like a good 85, 90% with my gut, but your hormones play such a major role in your gut health and vice versa. So by not tapping into that piece, I was really missing something. And so now, like, I love hormone health so much. Like, gut health is important, absolutely. But I don't feel like I could study gut health for the next 30 years and be so excited every day. Like, the hormone health and the fertility health and that piece is really like the driver for me. So that's how the journey went from graduating IIN to the gut health piece to the hormone health piece. And, I don't feel 100% every single day. Like we're all human, but I've never felt better in my life than where I am right now. And having this, being in this place in my body and having what I like to call like body literacy, understanding how to take care of myself and what is my body saying? How can I respond to it, etc.
I love hearing you talk about all of this because it's very clear that you have a passion for it and it is like your calling. So that's just so cool when you get to meet people who are like living out what they're supposed to be doing. And I'm so glad that you brought up how interconnected gut health and hormone health are. And I think that that's one of the things that they don't really teach you in school, which is wild when you think about all the things that we learned growing up that we're probably never going to use. But then there's things like this that, oh, wow, like you could make these little changes and make such a big difference in your health. So, for me, I can definitely relate to your gut health story. I feel like everybody in the world of health and wellness has a little bit of like an origin story of why they're so passionate about it. But I personally don't know still a ton about hormone health. So maybe could you speak to us a little bit more about like what that connection looks like and why it's important to support both in tandem.
Yeah, absolutely. So our gut is one of our detoxification or elimination organs. And along with our gut, it's also like our liver, our skin, our lungs can also be considered an elimination organ, um, and as well as our lymphatic system. So your gut essentially is the thing in your body, along with our liver, that really excretes waste from our bodies. And from this world that we live in, we are surrounded by a lot of disgusting toxins and chemicals and
Mhm.
pollutants, and those build up in our bodies, and we obviously need to get rid of them. And that happens in part in our gut when we have a bowel movement. And also, our hormones also build up in our bodies, and those need somewhere to go as well, especially if you have been on hormonal birth control, which I had been for about 10 years. My body needed to detoxify from excess hormones and hormone buildup. And we just all have every single day excess hormone buildup. So our gut is a major way for our bodies to clear out the things that they no longer need. Our elimination pathways and what we eat are so interconnected to our entire hormone health because these systems, like your gut system, your liver, your skin, even your lymph, these systems, these organ systems, when they are working efficiently and properly, then they're able to communicate with your hormones, essentially, with your pituitary and your hypothalamus and your brain, and tell them, hey, we're doing great. We don't need anything else. So your hormones are just able to do their jobs properly. So it's essentially like putting your body into a homeostasis state so that everything else that's supposed to happen is able to take place. So, our microbiome, which is a collection of bacteria, protozoa, fungus, pathogens in our gut, also plays a major role in our detoxification of estrogens. So, we have a specific part of our microbiome called our estrobolome, and the estrobolome's only job, is to detoxify our body from excess estrogens. So, we are also not we produce estrogen in our body, different types of estrogens. And by the way, estrogen is not a hormone. Just a fun fact. There are three types of estrogens, and
Oh,
those are the hormones. But estrogen isn't actually a technical hormone in the body, but we like to just use that word.
yeah.
But estrogens need to be detoxified in our bodies, and our estrobolome, which is within our gut microbiome, again, its only job is to help rid our body from excess estrogens. So the health of our gut and our gut bacteria play a major role in how we feel, in the way that we feel on our periods during our menstrual cycles, leading up to them, whether we have a good libido, we get headaches. It all plays such a major role in our estrogen. So another factor that kind of is related to the gut is obviously we eat. And so the food that we eat plays a role because whenever we have, let's say, imbalanced blood sugar, which is another major disruptor of healthy hormones, um, plays a major role in having a balanced hormone system too. So what we eat, obviously, we put that into our guts. By eating in a way that keeps your blood sugar stable is another way that our gut is super interconnected to our hormone system. And the last piece of how our gut is super connected to our hormone system, and I'm probably not even tapping into all of them, is how our central nervous system is really connected to our gut. You know, when you are nervous or anxious, you feel it in your gut, you get nauseous, you maybe had an appetite, you no longer have one, or maybe you are an emotional eater and you have more of an appetite when you're feeling anxious or something like that. So whenever we are in our stress or in a chronic state of stress, our sympathetic nervous system is activated. And when our sympathetic nervous system is activated, it essentially tells your adrenals that there's alarm, there's danger, and it tells them to pump out cortisol. So when our adrenals are pumping out cortisol, then that is affecting our hormones because cortisol is a hormone. And our guts, like I mentioned before, are super interconnected to our brain. So again, if we're feeling it or we're having an emotion, we can feel it in our gut. So everything is interconnected. The health of, your eye is interconnected to the health of your gut. And I can't explain to you how, but our bodies are all connected. So our gut health and our hormone health are like besties, and they need to work together really well and communicate efficiently in order to have healthy, happy hormones.
Okay, that was just so much useful information. So hopefully people like rewind, go back, listen to that again. Because I think a lot of us think, and I mean, I'm guilty of this as well, think like everything about your gut is solely based off of like what you're putting into your body, what food you're consuming or what drinks you're drinking. And all the other things that are interconnected just aren't even thought about at all. But I think your point to like stressors and cortisol, especially, is something that like living in America when we're in like a go, 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 go environment all the time is certainly something that could be affecting so many people's health and gut health as well. And so that's super great advice. What would be some tips? Like if people are like, oh my gosh, having an aha moment right now. And they're like, you know what? I am like chronically stressed, for example. What are some tips that if people are dealing with that and then they're seeing it in gut issues or they're seeing it in breakouts in their skin or whatever, like how do you help maybe your clientele or your community start to like implement steps to overcome that?
Yeah. So the thing that I would recommend starting with is your own routines. Our cortisol and our stressors and our adrenals are super interrelated to our rhythms. So, like our circadian rhythm, our infradian rhythm. Women, we have an infradian rhythm, and that's like the rhythm of our 28-ish, give or take, day menstrual cycle. So whenever we are able to honor these rhythms, our cortisol is like, okay, cool. Like I know what to do. Like I'm chilling. I'm not spiking or going out of control or crazy or anything. So first off, I guess it starts with our sleep. I always say like your morning routine starts the night before. So are you going to bed at a good time? Are you spacing your dinner from your bedtime? I know I'm guilty of having a snack before bed, but it really affects my sleep when I do it. So spacing, giving yourself a few hours, like three is a great number, two, fine. At least two, but three is great. Between dinner and when you go to sleep, having a very restful sleep. So, how do you feel when you wake up in the morning? Are you exhausted? Are you rested? Do you feel ready to go? And one of the greatest things that you can do every single morning, and if you're listening to this podcast, you've probably listened to others and are into your health. So you know about the circadian rhythm and why it's so important to get sun on your skin and in your eyes in the morning. So when you wake up, drink a big glass of water and go right outside. Go for a little walk, or if you have a patio or some outdoor space. I'm in New York City, so I have to go down my elevator, get outside. But if you have the ability to do that, like just get the heck outside. You can even bring your morning water outside. You can go for a walk. Doing movement and getting sun and hydration in the morning are like the top things that you can do. If you are a caffeine drinker, I do not want you to be drinking any caffeine until after you eat breakfast. When you drink coffee or matcha or whatever your caffeine of choice is, before you eat, you artificially stimulate your cortisol to rise. And by doing that, you are setting your body up for being in a state of stress all day long. And by eating your breakfast before, you are able to not only set yourself up for a less stressed day, but I promise you will have more energy than you ever thought that you were going to without having coffee. So set yourself for success the night before. Go to bed early, space your dinner from your bedtime, get up, drink your water, hydrate, see some sun, move your body, breakfast, then caffeine.
I know that last one is such a challenge for so many people. I mean, myself included, some days is you immediately want to go for that cup of coffee. And so that's a very good tip. Maybe like having a quick grab and go type breakfast to make sure that you're
Yeah,
eating before.
absolutely. And it doesn't have to be anything crazy, but I promise you it will make the biggest difference in the way that you feel. I have a client who even just has like a rice cake with peanut butter in the morning, and then we'll go to the gym and have her coffee. But even just something little with a little bit of fat, a little bit of protein, no carbs alone, will be really beneficial for your body.
Awesome. And then what if somebody is maybe dealing with some of those issues that you felt where you're waking up feeling bloated or you were feeling uncomfortable after meals? What are some of the things that helped you or some pieces of advice for anyone dealing with that?
So, something I like to say is that how you feel about your food is more important than what you're eating. So, and the way that you eat is more important than what you're eating. I want you to ask yourself, when is the last time that you ate a meal and that was your only activity that you did? And let's say you're not at a restaurant, right? That's like a hard thing to remember. I also am, guilty of doing this, of watching TV, of working, of being on my laptop when I'm eating, even reading when I'm eating. Like by making eating your only activity at the moment and being really present with your food, making sure that you're chewing it, that you are eating it in a state of calm, taking a couple deep breaths before you begin eating will really help your body be able to assimilate your food and not be like, oh my God, what's happening? Like, I don't know what's happening. So the reason why you are getting bloated after you, let's say, eat lunch every single day is because you are stressed at work. You're on your laptop, you're working, and then maybe you even eat at your desk. So you bring your lunch right over to your desk to this stressful environment that your body knows this is stress here. And your nervous system, your sympathetic nervous system is activated. And when our sympathetic nervous system is activated, all of our blood flow goes to our limbs. So goes to our legs, to our arms, and that is programmed so that when we needed to run away from bears, back in the day, we were able to. We had all that adrenaline and the blood flow in the places where we needed, and less blood flow in the places that are not, aka our digestion and our reproductive organs. We get 30% less blood flow to those organs and our liver when we are in a state of stress. Less 30% of the normal amount. So when you are eating, when you are stressed and you are bringing food into your body, you can't digest it because your body's not prioritizing digestion. It's prioritizing survival. Your blood flow is out in your limbs and you need to bring it back to your digestive organs and your torso. So a great way to do that is by taking a few deep breaths before you begin eating. And if you are really in tune with your body, like you can feel it. You can feel the blood flow entering your torso again, and you can feel it leaving your limbs. And when you're stressed, you can also like run really fast and, move your body extra. And that's what we're designed to do. So eating in a state of calm, making eating your only activity, chewing your food. We do not chew our food enough. And like, how do you feel about your food? If you are like, oh my God, like this is gonna make me so bloated, like I don't want to eat this, or that didn't make me feel good last time, like, but I have to eat it right now. Like if you have that mindset, like your body is going to reply in the way that your mind is thinking because your gut and your brain are connected, and your brain is literally telling your gut, like, we're not gonna digest this. This is gonna be hard. So if you, again, have a good mindset around your food, you thank it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for nourishing me, and you smell your food, activate your salivary glands to promote your digestion. Those are like really great places to start. Like I said in the beginning, what my secondary foods are and what work for me may not be the same ones that work for you, and that's okay. But the first place that I work with my clients on is how you eat because it clears up a lot of digestive issues without changing the what.
I love that so much. I mean, you guys, this is huge. Like, think about how many of us work and eat our lunches at our desk, like guilty when it's a busy day and I'm trying to multitask and do way too many things at once. And you're right, that's always when I feel the worst is when I'm like, so stressed out. And then it's also usually, I don't know if you felt like this, when I'm the hungriest as well, because I'm not realizing like, oh, I'm like sitting down and enjoying this big meal. I like look down and I haven't been paying attention and my food's gone. And I'm like, oh, I don't feel like I'm done. So I feel like it affects so much.
Yeah, absolutely. So the challenge that I give to my clients, and I'll challenge you with it too, and all the listeners, is pick one meal. And breakfast tends to be the smallest meal, so you can pick breakfast if you want. And pick one meal to sit and eat mindfully. And the response that I get from my clients when they do this challenge is like, I forgot how good my breakfast tastes. Like, wow, it was so delicious. And I'm like, yeah, like food is a pleasure that we get to have. We are so blessed that we get to have 3 meals a day. And, there are millions of people in the world who do not get that. It's such a blessing. And then we get to choose healthy foods and things that nourish our bodies. And like just having that sense of the gratitude in it and mixed in, it all plays a role in the way that you are going to digest and assimilate your food.
Yes, I love it. Okay, I want to shift a little bit over to hormone health, even though I know it is all connected, but I know that you especially work with a lot of females. And so could you talk to us a little bit about like maybe what is best to eat in the different times of our cycle or what activity we should be doing when we need to be resting more, when we can be more social, all the things, because once again, that's the thing that I feel like, oh, that would have been really helpful to learn in school, but it's not. So maybe some quick tips on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So this concept that I'm going to talk about now, and I think that you're asking me, is sort of like cycle syncing. So, cycle syncing is the concept of aligning your nutritional needs, your diet, your lifestyle, your workouts. You can align so much more like your business, your dating life. Like you can align everything to your menstrual cycle. And it sounds kind of crazy. I get it. I get it. But once you start it, you're going to realize I've never felt better in my life. And again, you're working with your infradian rhythm. So you are supporting the natural rhythm of your body. In our menstrual cycles, if you are not on any hormonal birth control, you have 4 hormones that run through your menstrual cycle. So we have estrogen, estradiol, progesterone, and we have luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone, so LH and FSH. And these hormones rise and fall at different times throughout our cycles. So the reason why this concept works is because our hormones have different needs. They're like sisters. They're not twins. Like they have different preferences. Like one of them, like I'm thinking about me and my sister, like I liked blue, my sister liked pink. So it's like progesterone, she likes our blood sugar a little bit higher, while estrogen is like, I don't want my blood sugar raised at all. So that is why this concept works. And I'm going to talk about the menstrual cycle in the context of our seasons because, rhythms. So when you start your menstrual cycle, so when you get your period, that is day 1 of your cycle. So the first day that you are bleeding or like you have a flow, if you're spotting, that's not technically day 1. Until you are flowing, your blood is flowing, that's day 1 of your cycle. During your menstrual phase, all of your hormones are at the lowest point that they are all cycle. However, the one that is starting to be stimulated is follicle stimulating hormone. And what's super cool is that while you're bleeding, your body is now starting to stimulate the follicles in your ovaries for your next cycle. So everything is starting to happen again. So once you finish your bleed, estrogen starts to rise in your body. And during your bleed, let me go back and talk about the seasons again. Our menstrual phase is often considered like our inner winter. And think about what you like to do in the winter. I personally, I like to grab some soup. I like to be really cozy. I like to put on fuzzy socks. I like to be alone. I don't like going out that much. So that is your inner winter. And I want you to behave that way too. So self-care wise, I want you to rest. If you have the ability on day 1 of your cycle to do nothing, I would love to invite you to do nothing. It is a beautiful gift that you can give to yourself. And I'm actually making an Instagram post right now about it. It's going to come out sometime this week of like, you're not meant to suffer the week before your period. You're meant to slow down. And while you're bleeding, you're meant to slow down. So that is our inner winter. We want to be really giving ourselves nutrient dense foods while also keeping our blood sugar on the lower side. So things like bone broths, smoothies that are super protein packed, root vegetables. Again, think about the inner winter. We want like those heavier, like grounding type of foods. Movement wise, this is a great time to rest, to not work out, to do walks, to stretch in your home, to do maybe a yoga class, some gentle Pilates, like really low impact, really, really gentle, especially not anything that is going to be pulling on like your abdominal organs. So no high intensity while you're bleeding. Once you finish your bleed, your estrogen is building in your body, and this is our inner spring. So I like to think about it like kind of like in the winter, after winter ends, I'm kind of like thawing off and I'm like coming out of the weeds and I'm like, hello, I'm here again. It's spring. And so you can treat your body differently during this time too. Something I wanted to mention actually about the menstrual phase is you want to focus on really warming things, things that are going to be super warming. Keep your abdomen covered. I like to wear little crop tops when I'm bleeding. No crop tops allowed. My abdomen's covered. I'm trying to keep her warm. And then in our inner spring, we want to still kind of keep things on the warmer side, but you can start acting as if it is spring. So movement wise, you can pick up the intensity a little bit. Our estrogen ramps up slowly. So don't like jump into it right away. Wait until your energy kind of picks up as well. Maybe you are now ready to start doing like a group exercise class or go for a jog or, a weightlifting class or something like that. Diet wise, you really want to focus on estrogen building foods. Fats are not things that will make you fat. Fat produces cholesterol in our bodies, and cholesterol is what creates our hormones. So we want to focus on estrogen building foods, things that are full of really amazing healthy fats. So like salmon, avocados, eggs. I only crave eggs during my follicular phase. It's really funny. And when I am in my inner spring. And so focusing on foods like that, again, our blood sugar likes to stay a little bit lower during the first half of our cycle. And during this time as well, self-care wise, you're able to kind of ramp things up, be a little bit more social, make a little bit more plans, but don't overload your calendar. So then we're moving along. Our estrogen is ramping up. And when our estrogen hits its peak, it stimulates our luteinizing hormone to luteinize our egg. And essentially, what happens is the dominant follicle within our ovaries comes out, and that is ovulation. So ovulation is really the star of the show when it comes to the menstrual cycle. We're all taught like your period. Like it's the only part we can see. So I get it. That's what we have to mark as day one. But your ovulation is the star of the show. We want our bodies to want to make a baby every single month, even if we don't want a baby every single month. That is a healthy cycle. And a healthy cycle is just an aspect of being a healthy woman. And during this phase, this is now our inner summer. So think about summer. Yay, it's summer right now. Like it's so much fun. Like I have more plans than I would like. I am going out. I'm doing things with other people. This is a great time in your professional life to schedule important conversations, to ask for a raise, to talk to your boss about something. It's a great time to go on a first date, to go out and make new friends, do some networking. Your body is literally primed for it because biologically speaking, you're looking for a mate. And your body wants to find a partner to mate with so that you can create a baby. And additionally, during this time, we want to focus on things that are going to, dietary wise, support our elimination organs and our liver specifically. So remember, our liver and our gut really focuses on detoxifying from our estrogens. So the first half of the cycle, estrogen ramped up. So now we want to support the release of that estrogen through our diet. So we want to focus on cruciferous vegetables. We want to have a lot of leafy greens. We want hydration always, but especially during this time, focusing on it as well. A lot of liver support during this time. And workout wise, this is the time to push yourself. This is the time to do the high intensity, to do the HIIT classes, to do the group training. This is the time where you will notice that you have the most energy and like you can totally utilize it. So that is our inner spring. I'm sorry, inner summer. And now we're moving into our inner fall. Once we ovulate, our estrogen drops down and our luteinizing hormone quickly drops down as well. And the one that now takes center stage is progesterone. Progesterone is, estrogen's sister. They have different preferences. This is now our inner fall. Progesterone likes our body's blood sugar to be a little bit higher. So you're going to find that before your period, you're craving carbs. That is normal. But I want you to focus on beautiful, complex, nutrient-dense carbs like sweet potatoes and quinoa and squash. Again, those root vegetables, you can bring them back in. And we want to focus on the progesterone boosting foods. This is the time in your cycle that I want you to focus on stress management the most. So important, especially if you are trying to conceive. Stress management after ovulation. Number one thing, I understand if you're trying to conceive, that's probably really hard. But extra self-care, extra stress management during this time. And those progesterone boosting foods are ones that contain magnesium and zinc, like citrus fruits and vegetables, peppers. I don't remember them all off the top of my head. I have cheat sheets on my phone too of all of the foods for your cycle. So if you are listening to this podcast and you want a list of foods for your cycle, message me on Instagram and I'll send you one. I have a big list. And then workout wise, you're going to notice in your luteal phase, in your inner fall, your body is ramping down. I live in New York, and in New York, we sort of have like two falls. We have one that's like enjoyable, where it's like, oh, you can wear a light jacket, and then it hits, and it's like, okay, it's like almost winter again, like no more light jackets. It's sort of like that in your menstrual cycle too. So you kind of have a 2 week luteal phase inner fall, where in the first half you're going to still be riding on the high from your ovulation and you're going to have more energy, and then the next week you're going to be like, oh, my energy is starting to tank, like I'm starting to feel a little differently. That's when you put on your heavy metal jacket self-care. That's when you focus extra on your nutrition and your sleep. So important during this time. And then when your progesterone drops off again, that is when you bleed. And now we're back at day one. Sorry, that
So
was so long.
much. No, don't be sorry at all. That's just so much helpful information for all the, sorry for the men who are listening, I guess, but maybe good to support the females in your life. But so much great information for people to kind of like tailor their lifestyle to how they're feeling as well. And just to know that like different weeks you're going to feel different and you don't have to freak out about it and be like beating yourself up to be like, why am I feeling so sluggish or tired? Like it's normal to kind of have the ebbs and flows. So that was super helpful. Thank you for that.
Yeah. And
Okay.
something I want to say just along those lines is that in our society and our culture, we have this like definition of success. And success means that like I did everything that I did yesterday and I did it better. And like I pushed myself really hard, but like I still finished it and like I still did it. And as women, like we are biologically designed to feel different every single day. It's just like not how we are created as women. And by expecting ourselves to feel the same way every single day is really just setting ourselves up for failure. And by understanding how your cycle works and how to work with it, you're able to not only like answer the question of like, am I crazy? Like, why do I feel like this right now? Like last week I didn't feel like this. Like, no, you're not crazy. Your hormones are fluctuating and we can work with them and we can support them and support their fluctuation. So I think that, men, they work on a 24-hour hormone cycle. As women, we work on a give or take 28-ish day hormone cycle. And we work with many hormones. They've got one. So they're able to perform the same way every day. They're able to feel the same way every day. But like we have so much more, dynamic juiciness in our rhythms that make us super women.
I love it. Such helpful information for everyone. Okay, I think that's going to take us into our final questions. I feel like I could talk to you all day, but I know I've already kept you for a while, so I am going to keep moving us along. So, going off of this, maybe it's dependent on your cycle, but what is your favorite workout?
Hmm. Lately, I go into weightlifting and I work out at a gym that's like a class with weights. So it's really fun because I like a group fitness class.
Hmm.
But like what really gets me going is like dance cardio. Like
Oh, fun.
I love to dance. Um, and something that like gets my heart rate up. And that's when I enter like flow. Like I'm not thinking, my body's moving. I like there's something about moving in unison with other women. Like that's my top if I had to
Yeah.
pick one to forever.
Did you dance growing up?
I did.
Yeah, so fun. So did I. It's a fun feeling to be like in sync with people around you. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay, what's your favorite food? Or you could pick a couple favorites.
My favorite food is miso soup. So
Oh,
random.
so specific.
Like I could just eat miso soup all the time. I love it so much. I like to drink my miso soup out of mugs. Like that's just my thing. I love miso soup.
I like it. I like it. I haven't had that one yet. On the podcast, the anyone pick their favorite.
So random.
Okay, any new products or wellnessy things that you're into lately that we should check out?
I don't know if this like counts, but I'm just really focused on like my sleep hygiene right now
Yeah.
and making sure that I create like a sleep sanctuary for myself. I literally just got a new bed yesterday. I'm so excited about it.
Oh,
Um,
amazing.
and I yeah, like any way I can improve my sleep, like that's top of mind right now. And it's not like a product or something.
Yeah.
Um, but I did just get the Aura Ring, which is helping me to track how efficiently I am sleeping.
Okay, what do you think about it? Because I've thought about getting one as well.
So far so good. I had the Whoop for 2 years, like a few years ago, and I liked their insights like so much better.
Mm.
But I had this like gnarly tan line on my wrist, and I was like, all right, we got to get rid of this. A ring is a little bit, more low key, but I'm enjoying it so far. And another reason I got it is because I track and chart my cycles, and one of the ways I do that is through taking my temperature. And I know the ring or a ring, it syncs with natural cycles, which, by the way, unless you're trying to conceive, I do not recommend at all. If you want to talk about that, we can DM me. But I want to see if my temperatures through the ring will align with the temperatures that I take orally with my thermometer on my nightstand.
Yeah.
And so if they do align, then I don't need to continue taking my temperature with
Yeah.
my thermometer and I can just use my ring and just sleep with it. So far, so good. I actually haven't added that piece onto it yet, but that's one of the reasons I got it.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. All right. We just have some rapid fires to finish up. So, kind of a this or that type questions. First one, morning or evening workout?
Morning, once the sun sets, not working out,
Same. Okay. Running or walking?
walking.
Lifting or body weight?
I'm gonna go with lifting.
Indoor or outdoor workouts?
Outdoor.
Juice or smoothie?
Smoothie. We need fiber to digest better and not spike our blood sugar.
Great tips. Coffee or matcha?
I'm not a big caffeine person, but I do love both coffee and matcha. But if I had to pick one, I would probably pick coffee.
Salad or bowl?
Like I feel like it's a controversial opinion, but like I love salads.
I do too. I just love them. I eat them
But
most
like
days for
only the ones
lunch.
that I like the ones that I make myself, like chef's kiss, unreal. When I have one out, it's fine.
I gotta load it down. I want like some greens with my toppings.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, pizza or pasta?
Pizza.
And New York. I mean, gosh, you're surrounded by good pizza.
Yeah, and I'm gluten free, but we have great gluten free pizza.
Where's your favorite gluten-free pizza in the city?
There's a restaurant called Ruby Rosa,
Oh,
delicious gluten free pizza, and Italy. They have great gluten-free pizza also, which they fly
Oh,
in like gluten-free crust from Italy, so it's extra good. And then they use their amazing sauce. Yeah, Italy and
oh,
Ruby Rosa.
making me so hungry now. Okay, tacos or a quesadilla?
Tacos,
And last one, early riser or night owl?
early riser.
All right. Well, that's all the rapid fires. So, if people have loved this conversation, which I know that they will, and they'll want to know even more, where can they follow along? And are you taking clients right now? Like, can they work with you as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So, yes, I am taking on clients right now. You can find me on Instagram at Dana dot Ariele, Ariele. And I am taking clients right now. I have a signature program called Hormone Health Foundations that is really for women who are struggling with hormone imbalances like heavy periods, painful periods, really exhausted all the time, bloating, low libido, acne, the whole gamut of hormone imbalance. And it's a 12-week program that I'll take you through to understand what are the foundations of hormone health and how to create routines and sustainable practices and habits that support your hormones every single day without really needing to think too much about it. I also do lab testing within the program. I have one-on-one support with me and also a group vibe as well. I run this program twice a year in person in New York City, and I also have an online version if you are not in New York. And I also do one-on-one coaching outside of that. And yeah, that's what I'm up to right now.
Perfect. And I'll be sure to link your Instagram in the show notes. So if you're listening, you can just scroll down, give her a follow. Lots of great information along the threads of what we've spoken about today. But thanks so much, Dana, for joining. It was so much fun getting to chat with you today.
You're so welcome. Thank you so much for having me. And yeah, it was so much fun too.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Health by Haven podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to give the show a 5-star rating and leave a review. It makes such a huge difference in reaching new people and spreading the joy of healthy living. I would also be so appreciative if you subscribe to the show in the listening app of your choice so you never miss an episode. Your support truly means the world to me. Have a happy, healthy day, and I'll talk to you again soon.